Verdict Watch continues in New York as in Dane County, recusal watch begins. But what is more likely, that a jury in Manhattan actually acquits Donald Trump, or that the Dane County Circuit Court lib, who fancies himself a judge, actually recuses himself from the Act 10 case after signing the recall petition against Governor Scott Walker? Welcome to the Thursday edition of the Dan O'Donnell Show. We will hear from former President Trump a little bit later on, most likely this hour, because we didn't get to it yesterday, so that means we play America's favorite game show today. Guess what's racist? Coming up in the 10 o'clock hour, Governor Evers weighs in on Dane County Circuit Court Judge Jacob Frost taking the Act 10 case, which, regardless of his ruling, will make it to the Wisconsin Supreme Court, where I've long believed it's fait accompli. It's a foregone conclusion that the court's new liberal majority will overrule Governor Walker's signature legislation. But Governor Evers doesn't think it's a real big deal. He thinks we need to just slow down and let the system play itself out. In other words, as he's telling reporters during a press gaggle yesterday, just forget about it, everybody. It's not a big deal. Uncle Tony says we all just need to move on. If you would like to join the Dan O'Donnell Show today, our phone lines are open every single minute of every single hour of every single show. And the AdventNows.com talk and text line is 414-799-1130. You can reach us toll free, 1-800-838-9476. Email me, DOD@iHeartMedia.com, at Dan O'Donnell Show on X, where we are streaming live via the Dan O'Cam. Also on Facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show and our YouTube channel. Just search for Dan O'Donnell or Dan O'Donnell Show. The Department of Public Instruction, which is about as friendly to Milwaukee Public Schools as a state organization could possibly be, is threatening to withhold state money after MPS officials failed to provide financial reports which were due 8 months ago. Now, you might remember on this very radio program, a certain host talking before voters stupidly gave MPS an additional $250 million in tax revenue in the form of a referendum that passed in April. If you provide a detailed accounting of where all of that money is going. Remember, MPS was the beneficiary of 4 different rounds of federal ESSER grant funding stemming from the COVID-19 pandemic in March of 2020. In fact, the final round of ESSER grant funding from the federal government is still going on. It doesn't run out until September. I said repeatedly on this show, if MPS can tell me exactly where that money is going, if they can provide a detailed accounting of every single cent they're spending, then I will switch gears. I will pull a 180 and I will wholeheartedly support their referendum. Of course, nobody took me up on this generous offer, and it turns out Superintendent Keith Posley wasn't even telling the state of Wisconsin how it was spending its money. Jill, I am not even going to try to pronounce this last name. Gokalagandhi, vice president of the MPS board, said board members are working with subject matter experts to chart a course forward, which could include, are you ready for this? They haven't filled out their forms, okay? They haven't filled out the required documents. What do you think Jill Gokalagandhi, her solution is? Do you think it's we're going to work 24/7? Do you think it's we had those forms already, but they're in the mail? You use the man deadbeat Barnes excuse. The check is in the mail. No. Jilly Gokalagandhi, vice president of the board, according to the Journal Sentinel, said board members are working with subject matter experts to chart a course forward, which could include adding staff. Of course, this comes at the exact same time that the MPS board is going to meet tonight to discuss Posley's plan to cut 300 teacher positions. Of course, they're not cutting any diversity experts or any bureaucrats at central office, as we established last month, all of whom are making more than $100,000. In fact, we identified more than 70 different bureaucratic positions getting an average salary of about $102,000 per year. That doesn't include the lavish benefits package that every single MPS administrator gets. They're going to add staff, fill vacancies in the district's finance department, or bring in outside help to produce the needed reports for state officials. In other words, this is an admission that they not only failed to do what is legally required of them by the state of Wisconsin in a timely manner, they haven't done so in the 8 additional months that they had to get the required financial reporting done. But they have no earthly ability right now with the current staff they have to be able to finish these reports. How is it seemingly every other school district in the state of Wisconsin was able to get this done? Quick. I got a pop quiz for you. Pop quiz, hotshot. Just call me Dennis Hopper from Speed. You're in a school district traveling at 78 miles an hour on the path to apparent bankruptcy and total chaos. You've got more staff than anyone else. What would you do, hotshot? What would you do? Here's your pop quiz. What school district has by far, the biggest staff in the state of Wisconsin? What school district doesn't just have the biggest teaching staff or the biggest support staff, but the biggest bureaucratic staff, the biggest financial department in the state of Wisconsin? Is rather obviously MPS. How is it that the Department of Public Instruction sends this letter apparently, and granted, I don't know all of the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of school districts that might have gotten the letter over the course of the past 8 months after the time at which this financial reporting was due. But it seems to me that MPS is by far the most prominent, and it seems to me that since we're almost within a couple of days done with the 2023-2024 school year, that MPS has done by far the worst job in getting these reports to DPI. In a joint statement Wednesday, school board members said they are committed to ensuring all requested information is submitted in a timely manner. No. Fellas, ladies, Jilly. Timely would have been 8 months ago. We take this matter seriously, and we are confident that we will be able to course correct promptly. To avoid a suspension in all state funds, MPS must submit a corrective action plan to complete all of the missing reports and ensure the district meets future deadlines, according to the DPI letter to Posley, which was released yesterday. DPI recommended MPS hire an external financial consultant as soon as possible to complete the plan. Deputy State Superintendent John Johnson says in the letter, not only are many required reports incredibly late, MPS has demonstrated a pattern of submitting incomplete data as well as requesting data changes without having the required documentation for the request. In a media statement Wednesday, DPI Executive Director Sachin Chedda, remember that name? He is a longtime sewer department operative, Democratic Party of Wisconsin. You see, it's like embedded in my brain. I honestly almost said Department of Public Works. It's like I want to say Democratic Party of Wisconsin, and it's like it's a Freudian slip, folks, because nobody knows gutter politics quite like Sachin Chedda and his old boss Thaddeus Thad Nation. In a media statement Wednesday, DPI Executive Director Sachin Chedda looked reporters straight in the eye and said DPI and Milwaukee school board members are now, quote, deeply engaged in dialogue. We believe they are committed to getting the district's financial reporting back on course. Here's a shocker. Nicole Armendariz, communications director for MPS, didn't answer questions Wednesday about why the district's reports were overdue. She said the district is working with the board and working with our stakeholders to provide all the information as quickly as possible. Every time I have asked Armendariz or anyone else from MPS about pretty much anything, you might remember that there was a scandal that we broke here on the Dan O'Donnell Show about the Democratic Party and its various 501c3 groups being allowed into MPS schools to register students to vote ahead of, I believe it was the 2023 state Supreme Court race. It might have been 2022. My dates are wrong. I ask for comment. I do a big story. I mean, I was covering this story. It gets all over media. It got some national media attention that MPS is basically partnering with the Democratic Party, much like the city of Milwaukee did. Remember that story we broke? Milwaukee Votes 2022, where it's just a Democrat organization running a voter drive in conjunction with the city of Milwaukee in total violation of state law. Nobody seemed to care and nobody did anything about it. But then they did the exact same thing in MPS. They have this vote drive where it's just a Democrat organization comes in and, of course, is trying to get as many Democrat votes as humanly possible. Do you know when Armendariz finally responded to my request for comment? 2 days after the election, because of course. Now, if you could find a left-winger in the state of Wisconsin who is more sympathetic to and supportive of the failed school district of MPS than Sachin Chheda, the spokesperson for the Department of Public Instruction, or his boss, State Superintendent Jill Underly, I'd like you to find them, all right? These people are in MPS's corner. They didn't want MPS to get $250 million. They would have been the ones pushing for $500 million because it's for the kids and all. Do you know how badly you have to screw up when you have earned the enmity of DPI and DPI just sort of selectively leaks this letter to the media right before the board is set to review the performance of MPS Superintendent Dr. Keith Posley? I think by leaking this to the media, and credit to, I don't know if he was the one who first got this. He was the one I first saw posting it. AJ Bayatpour, I believe of CBS 58. Yep, CBS 58. Very good reporter, somewhat checkered past. If you know, you know. But you know what? Everybody's done stupid things while drunk. He has done, I think, a great job. He's an incredibly fair reporter. He actually asked Janet Protasewicz about her obvious repeated conflicts of interest on the campaign trail. So Bayatpour was the first one that I saw post this letter. The fact that this was sent and then got in the hands of the media the day before this MPS board meeting, where they're talking about their 2024-2025 budget tonight at the MPS meeting tonight. That's not a coincidence, folks. This is DPI saying, get your you-know-what together, MPS. Remember, these are people who are all in the same boat. They are all part of, I forget who it was that called it, the education blob, the bureaucracy that just stifles the ability of big public school districts like Milwaukee Public Schools to actually educate kids. And I don't think I need to remind you how badly MPS has repeatedly performed on DPI report cards, even after the Department of Public Instruction deliberately changed standards to make it nigh on impossible to fail on DPI standards. MPS was still one of the worst performing, if not the worst performing districts in the entire state. Far less than 10% of African-American students can do math at grade level or are proficient in reading and the language arts. That's frankly disgusting to me. All students are well below the state averages of the percent of students who are proficient or at grade level in either math or language arts. Now, you might say, well, Dan. It's the pandemic. Remarkably, MPS was doing worse before the pandemic. Now, this has a large function of the DPI just changing randomly the standards for grading. But I ask you this, ladies and gentlemen, is there a worse organization, public or private, in the state of Wisconsin than Milwaukee Public Schools? Truly. Now, not only that, do you remember the MPS board member who went rogue and actually talked to us here on the Dan O'Donnell Show? Actually, I think I was filling in for Belling. We talked with Aisha Carr, who said, look, I've sort of been kept in the dark about all of this. She was raising the exact same concerns I was. Do you remember what MPS did to her? She was holding a town hall meeting, and about 3 hours before, they said, no, you can't use our building. I said, well, wait a second. I talked to the principal of this school. They said I could. Nope, you can't. Then, after the election, even though Carr had presumably been living in the exact same place for her entire tenure, she was investigated for and referred for potential criminal charges for not living in her MPS board district. She eventually resigned because, well, we can't have some. Isn't it weird? Aisha Carr was an MPS board member in good standing, and everybody just sort of agreed to overlook the fact that she probably didn't live in her MPS board district until the exact moment she goes on this radio show and she starts raising holy hell about the fact that nobody knows how MPS is actually spending all of its COVID money, and now it's demanding $250 million more from taxpayers. At the same time, it gets $250 million and says flat out, we're going to cut 300 teacher positions. Wait a second. I thought this $250 million, and I thought all of this federal COVID money was designed to ensure that we don't have to cut teacher positions. You'll notice there are no administrator positions that are being cut in Dr. Posley's proposal. So she's raising questions. MPS isn't revealing to the Department of Public Instruction where the money is actually going. They're 8 months late. Folks, if you can't tell by now, something stinks to high heaven. They're refusing to answer any questions about it. I believe right now a legislative audit is imperative of Milwaukee Public Schools. The books need to be opened. Every single cent needs to be accounted for. And if we actually had a Department of Public Instruction or a state superintendent who cared one wet fart about educating inner city kids in Milwaukee, they would demand accountability, and they would demand the resignation not only of Dr. Keith Posley, but they would demand the immediate contraction of the MPS bureaucracy and potentially look at splitting it into multiple districts, because I don't know how much more evidence is needed that MPS is a truly failed state. You're listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show. We'll be back after this.
Hi, it's John Reitz from Great Midwest Bank, and as a community bank, we sincerely appreciate our customer loyalty. Over nearly 90 years, we've done all we can to return the favor. Great Midwest Bank offers flexible solutions that bigger banks and credit unions simply can't, because our entire team is right here in the community. We love helping our neighbors when we're at work and then catching up over the weekend. Visit us at greatmidwestbank.com. Great Midwest Bank, your simply local equal housing lender.
Dan O'Donnell here. CertaPro Painters knows how important your home is to you, and that's why they're so focused on helping to bring a fresh color to your home. You can trust CertaPro Painters to get the job done right, even in those hard-to-reach places. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Schedule your free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. When choosing a painting professional, the choice is simple. Choose happy. Choose CertaPro Painters.
Spas. The Swim Spa Hot Tub and Sauna Show is coming this weekend only to the Wisconsin State Fair Cream Puff Pavilion. Rows and rows of spas, hot tubs, and swim spas. The largest display in the state. Save up to 60% off retail. This weekend only at the Wisconsin State Fair Cream Puff Pavilion.
Are you tired of exposing your retirement to stock market risk? How would you like the potential to participate in credited interest from market index returns and limit the downside? Join Joe Brown for the Safe Money and Income Radio Show on Sunday at 7:30 a.m. and 8 p.m.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for up to half the cost. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single line 1, 5, and 10 gig data plans with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plans offered by T-Mobile and Verizon January 2024.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert, and I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free information kit. 800-887-1010. That's 800-887-1010.
At Coal Investment Group, we go beyond retirement investment planning to build a relationship that allows us to better understand your unique goals and needs. That's what separates us from the rest. If you're ready to retire on your terms, give us a call today at 262-522-4040.
Learn the secrets to create your own ultimate backyard retreat with Brett Ochtenhagen of Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services. Tune in every Saturday at 1 p.m. on News Talk 1130 WISN. Learn more at seasonalservices.com.
Now, all of this scandal at Milwaukee Public Schools comes literally a week after the federal government, remember, also sympathetic to MPS. This is the Biden Department of Education. This isn't Trump, and I'm already forgetting Trump's Secretary of Education. I know. We had her on the show twice, and this is really embarrassing. She was a school choice advocate from Michigan, and this isn't her. This is about as left-wing. Betsy DeVos, thank you very much, producer Dave. This isn't Betsy DeVos here, just saying, oh, yes, we're going to strip away the federal funding and give it to a charter school. This is Biden's Department of Education. They stripped federal funding from MPS's Head Start program, stating that the district failed to establish and implement a system of ongoing monitoring to ensure the safety of children in their Head Start program. That's a program for low-income families where they can go to 3K and 4K preschool for free. Prendalina Rivera has a son in the Head Start program and a daughter enrolled for next year. This is WISN 12's story on it. I love the Head Start program. With my daughter having a disability, it also helps push her forward for when she gets ready for kindergarten and just for her future education in general. The program Rivera relies on to get kids ahead is now suspended and stripped of federal financial assistance for the rest of the month. It's kind of concerning, Rivera said. So not only do we have the federal government, the state government, and pretty much every other layer of educational bureaucracy in MPS's corner, you also have the media framing stories like this. Oh, how dare MPS lose federal funding just because a couple of kids in their preschools are getting abused. I mean, come on. It could happen to everybody, right? Now, this isn't Smiley Time Daycare in some auntie's rec room. This is Milwaukee Public Schools. They aren't able to keep kids safe in daycare. WISN 12 spoke with Chief Academic Officer Jennifer Mims Howell at Wednesday's Policy Council meeting this last week. Basically, the incidents that happened, we are responding to. She would not detail specific incidents. WISN 12 News filed an open records request with both ACF and MPS for the incidents that led to the suspension. WISN discovered on the Department of Children and Families website infractions at nearly all of MPS's 39 Head Start locations. Reports of staff grabbing children and yelling in their faces at Metcalf School in 2023, Kilbourne School in March, a warning letter because none of the staff members caring for the children had completed background checks. Are you kidding me? You could literally have child molesters at this preschool, and nobody would know because nobody bothered to require a background check before they started. Additional violations included the failure to properly train staff and instances of staff leaving children unsupervised. Now, these are not middle school kids. These are 3- and 4-year-olds. Do you know how much trouble a 3- and 4-year-old can get in when you turn your back for even a second? And again, this is not golden unicorn daycare in some grandma's spare bedroom. This is Milwaukee Public Schools. When you hear about stuff like this, it's invariably at some home daycare where the woman is on drugs and getting federal or state money for having a quote-unquote daycare. One of the longtime scams. Are you aware of one of these scams, Producer Dave? It's everybody on the block or everybody in the family opens a quote-unquote daycare, and one day the kids go to grandma's house, one day the kids go to the auntie's house, one day the kids go to the mom's house, and they all have daycare when it's really they're just scamming the system. None of them actually have daycare, but they're all getting federal assistance for running daycares. This isn't that. This is an actual MPS preschool. In fact, all 39 of the MPS preschools. I ask you, how much more failure in a 1-week span is the city of Milwaukee, the state of Wisconsin, or the federal government willing to accept before we just pull, like, what was it? Was it St. Marcus or St. Augustine that just bought the college campus? St. Augustine Prep. Can we just transfer? How many kids can St. Augustine Prep take? All right, Cardinal Stritch. We've got a whole campus. We move every MPS kid out of the district and we just enroll them. Could we just I don't know. Could we put St. Marcus and St. Augustine Prep in charge of every single MPS kid? I am at the point where I think there is no way to fix this institutional rot. You can get a new school board, you can get a new superintendent, you could get new bureaucrats, but it's going to be the same sort of problems. MPS has been failing for 4 decades, and now it seems that it's all coming to a head in a thermonuclear explosion of suck. You're listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show. We have got some choice Joe Biden cuts, some grade A pandering in Pennsylvania yesterday, plus President Trump all next.
I joke around and with my wife and call it my bionic knee.
But before Ernest became a patient with QC Kinetics, it was a different story.
I'd go to bed with my knee throbbing, heat, ice. I would get up in the middle of the night to get a drink or something, and I would just be hobbling.
He wasn't able to play on his rec basketball team or work in the yard. But QC Kinetics regenerative treatments turned around the situation without surgery or downtime, using Ernest's own healing properties to help restore his aching knee, now known as Ernest's bionic knee.
I am really happy because I am playing the game that I love so much, and I'm playing with my granddaughter, and I'm gardening, and I'm on my knees, and I'm jumping up. I have a 200-pound dog, and I'm playing with my dog.
Now Ernest is living his best life thanks to QC Kinetics, and so can you. Call today for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
Dan O'Donnell here. It's This Week with Annex Wealth Management, joined by Dave Spano, the president and CEO of Annex. Memorial Day weekend is in the rear view mirror. Straight up ahead is June 1st. There's also the summer solstice. So when do you think summer begins? Meteorological summer, astronomical summer, or Dave, how about financial summer?
Yeah, you think about after Memorial Day when people start taking vacations and going out. But, you know, the old saying of sell in May and go away, that's been debunked for a long time. But there's no question that earnings season is over. And, of course, we highlighted that with an NVIDIA report that was absolutely stunning. Growth up more than 240%. And you think about what's happening with AI, but it's just not NVIDIA. You think about how do you build out the grid and, for example, data centers, and how you're going to protect the grid. There's the picks and shovels trade that's going to be part of this next move, and that's number one. Number two would be, of course, when earnings season ends, you do get some more volatility until earnings season begins again in July. And between now and then, Dan, we're going to have a Trump court case. We're going to have a Fed meeting. We're going to have the first presidential debate. All of that could be market moving. And that's the reason why during the summer, when we have this time, go ahead and take advantage of this free portfolio analysis that we have and make sure that your portfolio is aligned as we head into the second half of the year.
And the best way to do that is, of course, by heading to annexwealth.com and getting a review of your portfolio. Know what you own, know why you own it, and you can get that in the form of a wealth metric. It's absolutely free and available only at annexwealth.com. For Dave Spano, he is the president and CEO of Annex. I'm Dan O'Donnell. This has been This Week with Annex Wealth Management.
With nearly 50 years of experience, my dad, Jim Mullally, has taught my cousin Mark everything he knows. In fact, he bestowed so much expertise onto Mark that Mark went to New York to compete against the top furniture finishers in the country. And you know what? He won. So if you're looking for the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY finishing.com. The bulk of our business is in wood furniture restoration. We found that there are a lot of folks out there with antique furniture and heirloom pieces that are in good shape, but just need to be brought back to life again. Well, that's our specialty. And right here in Mequon, you'll find one of the country's top furniture finishers. So if you want only the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. We're no jobs too small. Serving everywhere. Quality counts.
There's good stuff for your garden at Miners Garden Center.
Like what?
Like 20 acres of plants, every tree under the sun, shrubs, evergreens, perennials, annuals, and ground covers, even blooming tropicals for patios.
Is that it?
Nope, they got knowledgeable people too. Miners is filled with nursery experts and dozens of every kind of planting for your yard and garden.
Really? They got all that?
All that and more. It's gardening from the ground up, a family tradition since '49. Miners, 76th, just north of Good Hope.
Think identity theft won't happen to you? Think again. There's a new victim every 3 seconds in the U.S., over 15 million this year alone, and many don't even know they're victims. LifeLock alerts you to identity threats you could miss even when you monitor your credit. If your identity's stolen, a dedicated U.S.-based restoration specialist will work to fix it. No one can prevent all identity theft, but everyone can save up to 25% their first year with my name, Clay, as the promo code at lifelock.com.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. 800-522-5700. 800-522-5700.
Tired of neighbors hounding you or whatever kind of dog they have? Fence Finders has countless options, from simple chain link separation to beautiful architectural art fences to view blocking, sound deflecting privacy fences. Enjoy neighbors enjoying their property. MilwaukeeFenceFinders.com.
I'm Dr. Jennifer Grieve at Reset Restore MD. Scientists have linked depression to neurochemical changes in the brain. Studies show ketamine can permanently reset and restore those balances, relieving depression and related issues. R&R for Relief, Reset Restore MD, rnrmd.com.
Playing it by ear. We're winging it here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. We should have a Wing It Wednesday, although Wing It Wednesday would be every day. And yes, I'm aware it's Thursday, everybody, although it's going to feel like a Wednesday because we have got a fun Guess What's Racist game for you coming up in the 10 o'clock hour. I'm just not sure what I want to do. President Trump went on an all-timer of a rant outside of the courthouse today. The jury is still deliberating. I am absolutely loving my favorite part of this entire jury deliberation has got to be, as one ex-user noted, the Domino's pizza tracker format for trial updates. They have the status of Trump's first criminal trial. Jury deliberation. We are here. Then next verdict, and then 12 sentencing. If guilty verdict, it's like, your pizza is being made. Now Steve is on the way with your pizza. Like, you can see, they literally did a Domino's pizza tracker on their website. It's fantastic. They've got a counter, by the way. The jury has been deliberating for so many hours. And of course, they're breathlessly reporting on every question from the jury. You know, I have had a number of people reach out and say, Dan, what do you think? Honestly, if you put a gun to my head and said I had to pick what this jury is going to do, I think they're going to convict. I think there are simply too many counts. I believe that the jury is simply too rather obviously conflicted. Now the jury is rehearing David Pecker's testimony. So it sounds to me like they're going through the entire trial, every witness by witness. And if you put a gun to my head, this is an overwhelmingly liberal jury. You can tease out a little bit of the jury's makeup. We know there are two attorneys on the jury, and you could see, based on the voir dire, based on the jury questioning, where everybody gets their news. And I can tell you just what the political makeup is. Every one of them, except like 2 or 3, reads the New York Times. They're New Yorkers, and this is a big thing in New York. There's one juror, juror number 2. Do you know where this person gets their news? 1, X, 2, Truth Social. Based on that juror alone, I'm thinking there's at least a chance of a hung jury that this is the juror who's most likely to be a Trump supporter, or at least someone who doesn't go along with the liberal narrative on this. Do I believe that the jurors will be able to keep their decision based solely on the evidence? Frankly, it has long been my contention that one of the major reasons that we don't try former presidents in this country is that it's nearly impossible for someone to put away, especially with someone as polarizing or as omnipresent politically as Trump, to put away their feelings about him and say, well, I can judge this case totally fairly. I'm not necessarily certain that that's actually possible. So we are going to hear right now from former President Donald Trump. I'm aware it's going to be tight, producer Dave, but here we go. Former President Trump speaking about an hour ago outside of the courthouse.
The moment that hearts melt over melted chocolate.
The hell was that? My guess is we left the recording on. We had another producer put it in. All right. not exactly sure what's going on here with this recording. But as always, the lesson here is everything at iHeartMedia is typically screwed up. We're going to step aside for a break. When we come back, we will, we think, hear from former President Donald Trump, or we'll get your unhinged liberal of the day. It's, Wing It Wednesday on a Thursday.
Keep in touch with Dan on Twitter at Dan O'Donnell Show.
More of the show next.
It's not hype to underscore the obvious. The 2024 election cycle is critical to the future of our country and to the American experiment itself. At News Talk 1130 WISN, we're committed to cover everything that impacts this election and to do so with clarity, coherence, and unapologetic candor. It's up to the voters to support freedom and liberty, and it's up to us to provide them with information and perspective. For complete coverage of Decision 2024, trust us. News Talk 1130 WISN.
Do you have a rotted wood window, foggy or broken glass, having a hard time opening your sliding door? Argo Glass and Windows can fix it all, saving the original look and your budget. Call us today and get a free estimate from Argo, where we repair first, replace at worst. Your one-stop window and door problem solver. Call us at 262-372-7110. That's 262-372-7110. Argo Glass and Windows, 262-372-7110.
In an old sports injury or just old age, but you just don't have to live with it. Jay Weber here saying it took me too long to figure that out. If you're someone who's experiencing spine or musculoskeletal pain or shoulder, hip, or knee pain, think Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. They're the doctors and techs that I trust with my shoulder problems. I've had issues for years, and there's not enough damage to warrant surgery, so Ortho Wisconsin helps me manage the pain. Their clinicians, physicians, and surgeons are committed to providing the highest quality joint care and handle everything from simple strains and tears to sports injuries to managing degenerative diseases to complex joint replacements. In fact, Orthopedic Associates specializes in same-day total joint replacements at their ambulatory surgery center in Pewaukee, and lesser treatments like physical therapy can be done at the Pewaukee, Brookfield, and New Berlin locations. Based on my experiences, you will be impressed with Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin and their staff. You can find them at orthowisconsin.com. orthowisconsin.com. Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. There is a difference.
Dan O'Donnell here for my amazing friends at Built Right Furniture. Built Right's Memorial Day mattress sale is extended through Saturday. Shop the most unique selection of mattresses with over 60 models and 500 mattresses in stock. Choose from the best brands made in the USA, including Heirloom, Restonic, Therapeutic, Schiffman, and more. Don't make a mistake by ordering online or from an employee-free store. Built Right makes it easy, and with their legitimate sale prices, you'll get an exceptional value and a great night's sleep, as I do on my Built Right Heirloom mattress. They do the research for you, and their team will take time to help fit you. Built Right specializes in hard-to-find, flippable, two-sided, and heavy-duty mattresses that hold up to 600 pounds. Plus, Built Right offers free delivery and removal on mattress-only purchases of $799 or more. Shop Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Sunday, they're closed to be with family. Tell them Dan O'Donnell sent you to Built Right at 54th and Layton in Greenfield.
All across Wisconsin, destination marketing organizations are working to ensure that tourism in our state and your local community is stronger than ever. Their work to drive visitation and enhance the visitor experience not only encourages travelers to discover our great state, it bolsters the economy, supports jobs, and it improves the quality of life for all Wisconsin residents. To learn more about what these great organizations are doing, visit destinationswisconsin.com. Sponsored by Destinations Wisconsin.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. 800-522-5700. 800-522-5700.
He has more energy and sleeps better, and his wife told him he no longer snores. John's decision to come to Advent changed his life. We can help change your life, too.
Ask your advisor, are you 100% fee only for 100% of your clients 100% of the time? If they answer no, get a second opinion.
Financial strategies, what's the way to build your wealth?
FinancialStrategiesInc.com.
If you or a loved one needs a personal injury attorney, ask around. Lawyers, judges, law enforcement officers, insurance adjusters, refer Warshevsky because we achieve maximum judgments and settlements. Their ordeal, their injury is about the money. Warshevsky.com.
Life's a journey, and Russ Darrow is revving up for the ride. Russ Darrow and the places you'll go. Head to russdarrow.com to explore how they can help you get to your next adventure.
Conservative thought, not just talk. Governor Evers has weighed in on the, I would say, growing scandals surrounding Dane County Circuit Court Judge Jacob Frost, the story that we broke here on the Dan O'Donnell Show yesterday, that Judge Frost took the Act 10 case, yet another challenge to Governor Walker's signature piece of legislation that severely limited collective bargaining for public sector unions way back in 2011 when he first took office. Frost signed the recall of Governor Walker and just assumed nobody would notice. Well, we here at the Dan O'Donnell Show did. We found his signature as well as that of his wife. It was picked up by the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, the Associated Press, which I love the way this story was framed. A signature that appears to belong to Jacob Frost. Oh, yes, it just appeared. I mean, maybe they're a little tainted by the Voss recall, where they just sort of made up people's signatures, but this was clearly him, folks. It's a rather new thing. Back in 2011 and 2012, when they were circulating recall petition signatures to recall Scott Walker, they didn't get the idea that the Voss recallers, who care so much about election integrity, they didn't get the idea that they had of just sort of forging people's signatures. Yeah, it'll be fine. Just forge a 3-year-old kid's signature. Nobody will notice. In case you're wondering why I say these people are buffoons, this is why. I would say it's a growing scandal, but we get one day of media coverage from the rest of the media, and then you get the instruction from Governor Evers that everybody just needs to move on. He was asked during a press gaggle yesterday, do you think Judge Frost should recuse himself?
Oh, I don't think so. Recusal is kind of a death knell of judiciary. Let's just let it play out. Everybody has to take a deep breath and just kind of let the system work the way it's supposed to work.
So this is how the system works, Governor Evers. A clear conflict of interest is discovered. The judge tried his best to cover up the fact that he was conflicted. He knew he signed the recall. And he knew this presents a conflict of interest. This is not mere political opposition, which would be allowable. Okay, the judge is a Democrat. He's a liberal Democrat. That's fine. But signing your name to a document saying the governor who proposed this legislation that's currently before me as a judge should be removed from office. He should get the political death penalty over this. That goes well beyond the pale. That presents a clear conflict of interest. In my latest column at the McIver Institute entitled Judicial Ethics, Judicial Schmethics, we discuss this in great detail. You can get that column, McIverInstitute.com, out this morning. As I argue, as I did yesterday, ultimately, it doesn't matter, A, if Frost recuses himself, although he should, because, as I write, this is about as clear a conflict of interest as it gets. it's largely irrelevant because this case is going to get to the Wisconsin Supreme Court, and there should be at least one recusal. It's so funny how the rest of the media operates. The Journal Sentinel's investigative reporter, Dan Bice, he doesn't even try to pretend that he's just not getting fed stuff from Democrats. He posted an iMessage obviously coming from, hey, while we're all talking about Judge Frost, remember Brian Hagedorn was Walker's attorney and actually worked on this law. Yeah, and he should recuse himself too, as should Janet Protasewicz, who also signed the recall and even marched in support of Walker being removed from office. Now, of course, she's asked about this by the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. She said, maybe. Oh, wait, we got to do the Janet Protasewicz voice. Maybe I'll recuse myself. I don't know. Still, I have no idea how we established Janet Protasewicz sounds like Gladys Kravitz from Bewitched, because she actually because it was her constantly saying the maps are rigged. And I thought, the maps are rigged. They're rigged. Now, she also said repeatedly on the campaign trail, Act 10 is unconstitutional. It doesn't get any clearer prejudging a case. Hey, Judge Janet, do you think Act 10 is unconstitutional? Yeah, I do. A couple of years later, hey, we've got to determine whether Act 10 is unconstitutional. Janet, do you think you should recuse yourself? Here's what she said. Maybe.
Given the fact that I marched, given the fact that I signed the recall petition, would I recuse myself? Maybe, but I don't know for sure.
At least she's considering it. Now, of course, she's not going to recuse herself. Neither is Judge Frost. Do you remember when we here on the Dan O'Donnell Show actually provided a link for everyone in the state to file an ethics complaint against Protasewicz for violating the Code of Judicial Conduct? Well, a whole bunch of people did very quietly in September. That complaint, there was one that they actually read. It was dismissed, even though there were multiple clear violations of the Code of Judicial Conduct. The Judicial Commission, which oversees judicial conduct in this state, said, no. She's of the right political persuasion. There's no violation here. Oh, by the way, we've got to name the unhinged liberal of the day.
Does that make me crazy?
Trump is Hitler.
We are in pre-Nazi Germany. Does that make me crazy?
All white people are racist.
Does that make me crazy?
Trump is dangerous because he's evil.
America is over.
Let's just keep the theme of Wing It Wednesday on Thursday going. We don't have a whole lot of time. I had something else completely for Unhinged Liberal of the Day, but let's give it to Jacob Frost and Janet Protasewicz, who believe that the rules that govern judges don't actually apply to them, that the Code of Judicial Conduct is more like a series of suggestions. What was it? The bad guy pirate from Pirates of the Caribbean who said, the code is more like guidelines. No, it's not. It's state law. And since both of them think that they can just openly flout it, both of them are your unhinged liberals of the day. Captain Barbossa, that's who it was. Jeffrey Rush as Captain Barbossa. One of the best. For my money, the sequels kind of got meh, but the original Pirates of the Caribbean with Johnny Depp as Captain Jack Sparrow, absolutely spectacular. Go back. It's a one you can watch with the entire family. If you haven't, I'm sure most of America has. But yeah, they're treating it like the Pirates Code. Nah, it's more like guidelines. No, it actually isn't. We'll hear from both Biden and Trump coming up next.
News that's factual, fair, and balanced. This is continuing coverage on News Talk 1130 WISN, Milwaukee.
Good morning, I'm Ted Allen. Milwaukee Public Schools are facing a second funding suspension due to missing state financial records. Superintendent Keith Posley said yesterday the district still hasn't turned in financial records that were due as far back as last September. The Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction says if it doesn't have MPS's information by July, every school in the state could get less money because the calculation for state aid will be off. Governor Tony Evers weighs in on a lawsuit which challenges the provisions of Act 10. Media reports show the Dane County judge who's considering the case, Jacob Frost, appears to have signed the petition to recall Republican Governor Scott Walker in 2011. That recall was precipitated by anger over Act 10 and its restrictions on the ability of public employee unions to collectively bargain. That's the very provisions which the lawsuit seeks to overturn. Evers was asked yesterday whether he thinks Frost should recuse himself.
Oh, I don't think so. Recusal is kind of a death knell of judiciary. Let's just let it play out.
Evers appointed Frost to the Dane County bench in 2020. Nearly 200,000 people are still without power in Texas after severe storms hit the Lone Star State this week. Power outages are expected to be a multi-day issue stemming from all the problems brought about by fierce winds. Hail, punishing winds, and flash flooding remain possible in the region today. Checking the WISN Sports Scoreboard, the Packers return to the field tomorrow as OTA practices continue. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Ted Ahlin on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
This is Michael Lynch from Lynch Truck Center. For the first time ever, Lynch Truck Center is having a massive construction sale on over 400 in-stock trucks, which include Chevrolet, GMC, Kino, and Isuzu. You will not want to miss it. We're adding parking, 7 more truck bays, and expanded parts storage so we can better serve you, our customer. Did you know our experienced sales staff sold more Chevrolet medium-duty trucks and cab-overs than all the other dealers in the state combined? With their knowledge on upfits, combined with our service department, we deliver turnkey vehicles for your business, including the right body for your application, bin packages, and even lettered when it's delivered right to your door. As a business owner, has managing your fleet grown into a full-time job? Our fleet department can help. We provide a free fleet analysis which guides you when to trade, help track expenses for maintenance, fuel, and even vehicle tracking. You'll be shocked on the money and time you can save, not to mention having new vehicles under warranty. Visit lynchtruckcenter.com and give us a shot. We won't disappoint you.
Here's the latest forecast from the Fox 6 weather experts.
Sunshine and lots of it for our Thursday. Should see a very comfortable high near 70 away from the lake, but an east breeze will keep things near 64 lakeside. Overnight tonight, just a few clouds will likely dip to 48 degrees. I'm Fox 6 Chief Meteorologist Rob Haswell.
This report is sponsored by Mattress Firm. Mattress Firm's Memorial Day sale is here. Save up to $500 on select adjustable bed sets like the all-new Temper Adapt collection with advanced pressure relief to help reduce aches and pains. Plus, get a $300 instant gift for pillows and more. Hurry into Mattress Firm today.
Growing up in the 80s was totally tubular. Brat packs and 24-hour music videos, boom boxes and Walkmans, along with leg warmers, acid wash jeans, and jackets that were made for members only. Oh, and don't forget, air conditioning was a luxury. Yeah, retro is rad, unless you're talking about sticky, icky, humid indoor air. But your friends at Mr. Holland's Home Services are back here in the future to upgrade your aging, inefficient, grody to the max furnace and air conditioner. Mr. Holland's crew will make yours the coolest house on the block with a bodacious new comfort system and enjoy 0% interest for 36 months with approved credit. It's not a wall unit, and you won't need 1.21 gigawatts to run it. Call Mr. Holland's Home Services today, 866-992-1717, or visit MrHollandsHomeservices.com. If your indoor air is stuck in the 80s, we can help.
If you're someone who's experiencing shoulder, spine, hip, knee, or musculoskeletal pain and a total joint replacement might be in your future, think Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Their physicians specialize in same-day total joint replacements at their own ambulatory surgery center. See orthowisconsin.com.
Last year, 42 people died from a fentanyl-related death in Kenosha County. I'm Congressman Brian Stile. The failure to secure the border is directly impacting our community. We should all be able to live safely and securely. Please join me, Brian Stile, in Kenosha at Indian Trail High School on May 30th at 6:30 p.m. for my border security town hall. We'll discuss the challenges and policy solutions to stop the flow of fentanyl, end human trafficking, and secure the border right now. And I want to hear from you. Border security impacts your security. Join me, Brian Stile, in Kenosha at Indian Trail High School on May 30th at 6:30 p.m. for my town hall. For more information, please visit my website at stile.house.gov or call me at 262-654-1901.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for up to half the cost. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single line 1, 5, and 10 gig data plans with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plans offered by T-Mobile and Verizon January 2024.
Spas. The Swim Spa Hot Tub and Sauna Show is coming this weekend only to the Wisconsin State Fair Cream Puff Pavilion. Rows and rows of spas, hot tubs, and swim spas. The largest display in the state. Save up to 60% off retail. This weekend only at the Wisconsin State Fair Cream Puff Pavilion.
Be sure to listen to the NX Wealth Management Investment Show Saturday mornings at 11 and Sunday afternoons at 1 on News Talk 1130 WISN. NX provides its expertise to arm listeners with the knowledge and tools to invest wisely. NX Wealth Management. Know the difference.
The Milwaukee Admirals trail Coachella Valley in the Western Conference Final, 1-0. They'll try to even things up on Friday night when they visit Palm Desert.
Beating up by a defender, feeds it left. LaRue with a shot. He scores!
Pre-game coverage at 8:30. Face-off at 9.
iHeartRadio.
So, as you know, our monitors here in the iHeartMedia studio are always set to Fox News just because I find, first of all, I don't know, if we turned them off, would we lose our cred as a right-wing organization? I just find Fox News the best at going to live press conferences and events. They're just quickest with breaking news, and that's what we pretty much monitor them for. If there's something going on, for example, if there's a shooting or something, we can go to a press conference. Fox is very, very good at tapping into local affiliate wall-to-wall coverage. I mean, they just have a fantastic news organization. Right now, I believe Fox is making a big mistake. Their breaking news chyron says, jury rehears David Pecker testimony. Okay? Missing a big opportunity. Here's my headline. Jury wants closer look at Pecker. If you would like to join the Dan O'Donnell Show, the AdventNews.com talk and text line is open. 414-799-1130, 1-800-838-9476 is our toll-free talk and text line. You can reach me toll-free, 1-800-838-9476. Email me, dod@iheartmedia.com, at Dan O'Donnell Show on X, where we are streaming live, as well as Facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show. And on YouTube, just search for Dan O'Donnell or Dan O'Donnell Show. There, please like and subscribe. Please share on Facebook. Spread the word. Help grow Dan Nation. We want to have eternal Dan Nation here. And here come the angry texts about blasphemy. Dan Nation. Dan Nation. Not damnation. That you want to avoid. Damnation you desperately want to join. Suffice it to say, President Biden is in a little bit of trouble with black voters. NBC News last night.
Recent NBC News polling shows that President Biden's support among black voters has dropped since 2020. Back then, exit polls showed black voters supported Biden over Trump by 75 points. Now, that Biden advantage has narrowed to 58 points. Perhaps more concerning for Democrats, less enthusiasm. 4 years ago, 74% of black voters had high interest in the election. Now, it's just 59%.
It does sound hilarious that, well, that gap is very concerning. The gap has narrowed to 58 points when you're talking about easily the most loyal constituency for Democrats, to the tune of 95%. It is Black America. So if Trump gets that number down to even 80%, depending, of course, on where those votes are coming from, if they come from swing states, if Trump gets 20% of the Black vote and something like 40% of the Hispanic vote, it's over. It's darn near impossible for Biden to win. But now we're also seeing polling that in those critical swing states, Biden is also hemorrhaging Black support. Here's CBS News yesterday.
Look at current CBS News battleground tracking polling, for example, in Pennsylvania among likely Black voters compared to 4 years ago in the exit polls. He's down 10% among them, with former President Donald Trump making gains. Why that matters? Elections in Pennsylvania, Georgia, North Carolina, Wisconsin, Michigan, Arizona, Nevada, the battlegrounds, are all going to be decided by single digits, by maybe 4, just 5 figures. Any erosion of support among key constituencies to the Democratic voting coalition, Black voters, younger voters, women, Latinos, is a big alarm bell to the president and his team.
And that is why President Biden was in Pennsylvania, specifically a big, massive rally in Philadelphia. And by massive rally, I mean like a quarter-filled gymnasium with maybe 400 people there. He also went to a smaller event where, very conscious of how he's doing with Black voters, did some grade A pandering.
So I got involved as a kid in the civil rights movement because the Philadelphians know this, at least the older ones do. Delaware was the only state in the nation, Wilmington the only city in America, occupied by the military for 9 months after Dr. King was assassinated.
Okay. If that wasn't enough, later on in that same speech, he reiterated this point.
Like I said, in 1969, I got involved deeply in the civil rights movement. Those of you Pennsylvanians know that Delaware used to be a slave state and a southern state in its attitudes. I mean, for real. We have the 8th largest Black population as a percent of population of any state in the nation. And one of the things that amazed me was how the community stepped up when you gave it a shot.
Should we go all the way back to 1987? Biden apparently was the only 4-year-old marching for, as his vice president Kamala Harris put it, freedom. Remember that ridiculous anecdote that she keeps telling, which is a total ripoff of. Dave, can you look at who she stole that story from? She was at a civil rights march when she was a little girl, and her mom finally found her and said, Kamala, what do you want? Or something like that. She said, freedom. And she stole the anecdote. So Biden apparently is the only 4-year-old this side of his vice president marching for freedom and civil rights. However, she stole it from MLK. That is right. Yeah, if you're going to rip off a civil rights speech, you might as well rip off the past, right? You're going to steal an anecdote. Why not? Don't steal from a lesser light of the civil rights movement. Steal from the head honcho himself. Thank you very much for that quick bit of research, producer Dave. So Biden was the only 5-year-old apparently marching for civil rights. He got very involved. Let's go to the videotape. 1987, Biden forced to admit he never marched for civil rights.
During the 60s, I was, in fact, very concerned about the civil rights movement. I was not an activist. I worked at an all-black swimming pool in the east side of Wilmington, Delaware. I was involved. I was involved in what they were thinking, what they were feeling. I was involved, but I was not out marching. I was not down in Selma. I was not anywhere else.
Yeah, so, I was aware there was a civil rights movement going on. I didn't do anything about it, but you know what? I care. Is there a more white, liberal, bourgeois statement than that? I didn't do anything about it, but I totally care. I was down with the struggle, even though all I did was, work at a black swimming pool and almost get knifed by Corn Pop and the rest of the bad dudes. Biden also, as a way of pandering to the black community, said, look, you know that bridge that collapsed when the ship hit it in Baltimore, the Francis Scott Key Bridge? We're going to replace it with a brand new one worth $11.5 gajillion.
And we're rebuilding a $60 zillion bridge in Baltimore.
That's right. 60 zillion. He actually dropped a zillion.
And we're rebuilding a $60 zillion bridge in Baltimore.
That's right. But as you loyal fans of the Dan O'Donnell Show know, you members of Dan Nation know, the thing we love most about President Biden's appearances is the rambling anecdotes that go absolutely nowhere.
My dad moved us back down to where he had been raised in Wilmington. He was raised in Baltimore, then Wilmington. His father moved to Wilmington. And we moved down to Claymont, Delaware. Some of you know Claymont. It's about a good long driver from here. And
once again, ladies and gentlemen, it is uncanny. The man is transforming before our very eyes into Grandpa Simpson of The Simpsons. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, here is a Grandpa Joe Biden mashup.
One trick is to tell him stories that don't go anywhere.
My dad moved us back down to where he had been raised in Wilmington. He was raised in Baltimore, then Wilmington. His father moved to Wilmington.
So I tied an onion to my belt, which was the style at the time. Now, to take the ferry cost a nickel, and in those days, nickels had pictures of bumblebees on them. Give me 5 B's for a quarter, you'd say.
We moved down to Claymont, Delaware. Some of you know Claymont. It's about a good long driver from here. And
the important thing was that I had an onion on my belt, which was the style at the time.
While President Biden was campaigning in Pennsylvania, or Claymont, where he took the train down to Shelbyville, which is what they called Claymont at the time, and he had an onion on his belt, which was the style at the time. While he was campaigning in Pennsylvania, critical swing state, former President Donald Trump, of course, not allowed to campaign because of Biden's former number 3 official in the Justice Department, who just happened to take a massive pay cut as well as a cut in federal benefits to move from a cushy position in the DOJ to becoming a line prosecutor in Manhattan. That seems sort of weird. Oh, wait, it doesn't when you consider that he became the head of the financial crimes unit in Alvin Bragg's office that just so happened to prosecute Donald Trump and file criminal charges several months later. So President Biden and his DOJ are making it impossible for President Trump, the leading candidate for president right now, to continue to campaign while he's stuck in New York. We have made a pledge here on the Dan O'Donnell Show that every single day President Trump speaks outside of the courthouse, we are going to air his remarks in their entirety, because we obviously broadcast across one of the critical, if not the critical swing states. And if this is how the Democrats are going to try to play by keeping President Trump from voters in said critical swing state, we're going to do everything we can every single day he's stuck in New York to allow the people of Wisconsin to hear him. So here he is, 7 minutes worth of Donald Trump outside the courthouse this morning.
Thank you very much. Here we go again. 5 weeks. I've been here. I'm gagged. I'd like to answer all of your questions. They're very easy questions to answer, but I'm gagged, so I can't talk as much as I would like to about this ridiculous case that's hurting our country so badly. Some of the reviews from yesterday are and by the way, everyone's against this case. I haven't seen one legal scholar or expert in the law say that this case should have been filed. It should not have been filed, or at a minimum, it should have been filed 7 years ago. It's 7 years old. Everybody turned it down, including federal elections turned it down. Southern District turned it down. Bragg turned it down. Then he rejuvenated it when I was running for office. It's a terrible thing. At the request of Biden, the editors of the National Review say, acquit Trump. Bragg has failed to prove his charges. Totally failed. Greg Jarrett you say, what about Hillary with the dossier? What about all of these other things that go? And this is nothing. This is nothing. But what about all of the corruption, the voter fraud that you've seen over the last year on behalf of the Democrats, and nobody talks about it? This is ridiculous what they're talking about. This is called running for office. Greg Jarrett, the government, which received full payment on all taxable income. The government, by the way, received full payment. The taxes were paid in full. In fact, they made comment on that. Even if the taxes were paid in full, the Federal Elections Commission had concluded the money paid did not constitute a campaign contribution under the law. And remember, this judge wouldn't allow us. Look, he's a very conflicted judge. Everybody knows that. You don't want to talk about what the conflict was. I'm not allowed to talk about it because of a gag order that he put on me. So one subject he really doesn't want to talk about. There was no fraud. There was no conspiracy. It's that simple. Moreover, without a primary crime, there can be no secondary crime. It's a classic lawfare, weaponizing statutes because the law has been, okay, right? Because no law has been broken. That was Greg Jarrett. Ellie Honig, legal analyst for CNN. The crime here is not easy to explain or to understand. It's just not understandable. In other words, there is no crime. This is CNN. Catherine Christian from MSNBC, I call it MSDNC, legal analyst. It's difficult because it's a very nuanced argument. It's never been prosecuted before. This is an argument that has never been prosecuted before. And hopefully it'll never be prosecuted again. Andy McCarthy, this is anything but standard. It's the antithesis of standard, actually. The idea that they do not have to agree on what the other crime is. We spent 6 weeks wondering, what is the other crime? What is the other crime? And at the end, the thud we all get is this. There's 3 or 4 of them, and you could pick one from the other, and they don't have to agree on anything. And what he's saying is it's so corrupt. Nobody's ever heard of anything like this. It's called pick 'em. It's like the lottery. Pick 'em. You pick 'em. And you don't have to be, even though in a criminal case you have to be unanimous, you don't have to be. Just give a couple of votes because the judge, unfortunately, is corrupt. Judge Janine Pirro, no one has heard of this. It's like as a menu column A, B, or C. You don't have to agree on it. This is a kangaroo court. This is unheard of. I've never seen anything like it. I've done this for 32 years. I'm not a federal prosecutor. I'm a state prosecutor, so I know what I'm talking about. I'm not a federal judge. I'm a county judge, just like Bersha. This is New York law. This is my wheelhouse. He is 100% wrong. He's wrong. That's what Janine Pirro, very good woman, very smart woman. Jonathan Turley, this is becoming a 3-card Monte game on where is the crime? Smart guy, where is the crime? Mike Davis, the U.S. would sanction a country for doing this. I think that's good. I think that's good. Steve Hilton, it seems that every single day these proceedings go on, the judge and the prosecutor just go out of their way to prove Trump's point. And I guess they are proving my point when you think. That's why I write some of these things that are very sad. Mark Levin, this Stalinist-like case, it's a Stalinist-like case. It has prevented President Trump from running for office. It has prevented him from campaigning. He's unable to campaign because he's been in a courthouse for 5 weeks. And yet we just had a poll came out, NPR. Trump's 54, Biden's 42. And that's with independents. That's the best we've ever had. They said this is the single best poll that Trump has ever had with independents. Trump's largest lead among independent voters, NPR Marist College, 44-28. And Junior is way down, way down. But it's 44. Junior is extremely liberal. By the way, it's extremely radical left. I think you know that. But he seems to be hurting Biden probably a little bit. So that's it. It's a disgrace. The millions and millions of dollars that are spent daily on this case. Outside, it looks like it's Fort Knox, like they're guarding this. I've never seen so many policemen. Now, with Columbia University, you can plant a tent right in front of the main door, no problem. NYU, just put your tent up. Don't worry about it. Over here, say that this is a very sad day for America. The whole world is watching, and it's a very sad day for New York. I've gone through 2 of these trials already. It's with the same kind of a judge. It's all worked. It's all rigged. The whole thing, the whole system is rigged. Judge Engoron was overturned 5 times in my case, and he's going to be overturned again. And we were treated very, very badly. And the outside world is watching, and the outside world is just not going to bring their business to New York. And that's going to cost the city trillions and the state trillions and trillions of dollars. Businesses are leaving, and people are fleeing. So you can see the quotes yourself, and thank you all very much. We'll comment later on in the evening, but we'll be here, it looks like a long time. Thank you.
That is former president and current criminal defendant Donald Trump speaking before the jury resumes deliberations, which it now has after closely re-examining the Pecker testimony from earlier in the trial. It is the Dan O'Donnell Show. When we come back, let's have some fun, shall we? We'll play Guess What's Racist, America's favorite game show, and we need a contestant. How about you? We'll take caller number 19 at 414-799-1130 or 1-800-838-9476. Caller 19 plays Guess What's Racist next.
The next generation is here. You're listening to The Dan O'Donnell Show.
Hey, Dan O'Donnell here for my amazing friends at Built Right Furniture, Leather, and Mattresses. Built Right's Memorial Day sale is extended through Saturday. Shop where the O'Donnell family shops now more than ever. It's the time to support Built Right, a locally and family-owned business for 4 generations and 96 years strong. Built Right has the best team and selection of affordable, better quality furniture and mattresses in Wisconsin. Their 45,000 square foot showroom has thousands of items in stock, plus 500 mattresses. Check out Built Right's outlet and clearance center located inside their showroom for special deals. You'll get the lowest prices on popular brands like Smith Brothers, Elran, Heirloom, and Therapeutic. Built Right always saves you money. Voted best place to shop and winner of the Home Furnishings Association Retailer of the Year. Shop Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Sunday, they're closed to be with family. Tell them Dan sent you to Built Right at 54th and Layton in Greenfield.
Trees on the Move, offering ideas for outdoor living and beautifying with landscape consultation, design, and installation, including retaining walls, paved patios, tree trimming, and more. Trees on the Move's been offering landscape services for over 47 years and now offers stamped and colored concrete drives, patios, and sidewalks. Beautify your yard this year with Trees on the Move. TreesOnTheMove.com.
From planning to planting, Trees on the Move.
People across Wisconsin are enjoying the rewards, stability, and flexibility of a career in healthcare. Why not you? WIS Caregiver Careers can get you started as a certified direct care professional. You'll learn the skills you need to make life better for older adults or people with a disability. All training is free and online. Plus, earn $500 in bonuses. Start your new career. Sign up today at WisCaregiverCDCP.com. Sponsored by the Wisconsin Department of Health Services.
Hey, it's Jesse Kelly. Are you still on the fence about owning gold? It's time to pull the trigger with the Oxford Gold Group and buy gold and silver. Nobody can predict the future, but we can't put our head in the sand either. The Oxford Gold Group are the pros. They make owning gold and silver simple and easy to understand. Call Oxford Gold Group right now and you may qualify for up to $10,000 in free precious metals. Call 833-995-GOLD. That's 833-995-GOLD.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. 800-522-5700. 800-522-5700.
Classical conservatism, contemporary style. It is the Dan O'Donnell Show. We are, of course, endorsed by one Donald J. Trump.
Your show is a very important show, and it's a great show, and we appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. President. Not only do we provide hard-hitting analysis and the information that you often won't get from the rest of the news media, we also have some fun. Like when we play America's favorite game show.
Guess What's Racist?
Normally this happens on Wednesday, but because we had so many exclusive stories that we needed to cover, we are pushing it back a day, but that's good news for our contestant. Please say hi to John from Milwaukee. John, welcome to Guess What's Racist. How are you doing this fine morning?
Good morning, Dan. Doing great.
That's unfortunate because you need to be doing terrible because there is so much racism in the world, John. And maybe you're doing great because you just don't recognize it. Well, it is your lucky day because this game, this show is more than that. It is an effort to help better understand your, John from Milwaukee's, place in this complex tapestry we call America's systemic racism. Are you aware of how this game works, John?
Pretty familiar with it, Dan, yes.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. For those who aren't, I am going to give John a list of 3 things. Those 3 things are going to be related, but none of them are going to make you say, wow, that's racist. That is a racist thing. Like if I were to say the Ku Klux Klan, you'd say that's racist. If I were to say Joe Biden hanging out with segregationist senators for the better part of his Senate career, you'd say, wow, that's racist. If I'd say Joe Biden saying poor kids are just as talented and just as bright as white kids, you'd say, wow, that's racist. The things I'm saying are going to be very benign, but within the last couple of days, one of those 3 things has been covered in the media or mentioned by a Democrat politician or liberal activist as being, for one reason or another, racist. John's job is to determine which one. John, are you ready to play Guess What's Racist?
All ready. All of the above.
No. All right. Yes. Yes, you are. Yes, you are, John. You know how we play this game. Let's get started. Guess What's Racist? Australia, New Zealand, or French Polynesia?
Wow.
Yeah. It's tougher than it sounds, John.
Let's go with the French Polynesia because you can't have both.
You can't have both, unfortunately. Well, at least this week anyway, you can. The racist country is now Australia. Over the weekend at the Sydney Writers' Festival, high-profile political journalist Laura Tingle told the audience that Australia is a racist country and always has been. It prompted widespread media coverage and criticism from coalition politicians and media commentators. But as the website The Conversation writes, is it true? Is Australia fundamentally a racist country? We asked 5 experts what they think. Here's what they had to say. We don't have time to go through all 5 experts, but suffice it to say they said, yes, of course Australia's a racist country. Could there be any other answer? Question number 2 for you, John. Guess what's racist? The Venice Film Festival, the Cannes Film Festival, or the Sundance Film Festival?
I'm going to go with the Cannes.
That is correct. At least according to singer Kelly Rowland, or Rowland. Is it Rowland? I think it's Rowland. It's probably racist of me not to remember how to. It's Kelly Rowland from Destiny's Child, right? It's Beyonce, Solange, and Kelly Rowland. Okay. Yeah, no, but she was in Destiny's Child, right? Solange Knowles was not in Destiny's Child. Boy, I'm racist for not knowing that. Producer Dave, Destiny's Child super fan. In fact, he's wearing a T-shirt of them right now. Corrects me, Kelly Rowland was in Destiny's Child, and she has now spoken out about a viral moment at Cannes on the red carpet. She was seen wagging her finger at a staff member. And, of course, she suggested the incident was, of course, racially motivated. In a clip shared by the Associated Press, she said she was treated differently than other stars on the red carpet and decided to stand her ground. The woman knows what happened. I know what happened, Rowland said. I have a boundary, and I stand by those boundaries, and that is it. There were other women that attended the carpet who did not quite look like me, and they didn't get scolded or pushed off or told to get off, she said. And this is hilarious. According to the Yahoo News story, she said, smiling through the pain. This is an honest-to-goodness sentence that was written. And I stood my ground, and she felt like she had to stand hers. But I stood my ground, and that was it. This happened during a premiere of the French-Italian film Marcello Mio. She was on the red carpet, but her elegant entrance and interaction with the paparazzi were interrupted when event staff members tried to rush her off into the theater. The incident escalated when a staff member was seen placing an arm around Rowland to hurry her up the stairs and inside. Meanwhile, Rowland wagged her finger in the staff member's face in a seemingly defensive manner. Do you know why the staff member, by the way, they released a statement saying why she was doing it? Because the movie was starting. They needed to start the movie. And Kelly Rowland needed to be in the theater. All right, you're 1 for 2, John. Very, very well done. Guess what's racist? American Airlines, United Airlines, or Southwest Airlines?
United Airlines.
No, I'm sorry, it's American. A lawsuit filed yesterday by 3 men, Alvin Jackson, Emmanuel Jean Joseph, and Xavier Veal, accuse American of blatant and egregious race discrimination during a flight in January from Phoenix to New York. According to the complaint, 8 men who had already boarded a plane bound for JFK Airport, seemingly all of the black male passengers on board, were told to exit without an explanation. When the passengers demanded some sort of reasoning after deplaning, according to the lawsuit, representatives of American told them they were ordered off the plane because of a complaint about body odor. The passengers weren't personally confronted about any alleged smells, but accused the airline of singling out black men. At one point, while exiting, one of the men, Joseph, told an airline representative that a white male flight attendant had treated him inappropriately just because of the color of his skin, or perhaps the smell of his skin, we're not sure. The former passengers were told they'd have to get rebooked on other American flights, but ended up getting back on their original plane an hour later after airline employees couldn't find alternative flights. Meanwhile, the pilot on the original flight told the remaining passengers that there was a delay due to a concern about body odor. Okay, how bad do you have to smell that you're ordered off a plane? I am seriously, because I'm like, yeah, you know, sometimes I will shower after the show because I, go work out immediately after the show's over. I'm like, what is the standard? Like, how bad do you have to stink before it's no longer safe to fly with you? The men in their lawsuit seek unspecified damages as well as Old Spice. No, I made that last part up. Last question for you, John. Guess what's racist? NPR, PBS, or the Sesame Workshop?
Oh boy, let's go with Sesame Workshop. You know, it just sounds right.
It sounds right? Yeah, they're racist against Green Muppets because they put Oscar in a trash can, right? Wrong. It's PBS. Or what were you going to say, John?
Well, I was going to say, they had Joe Biden dancing as Elmo. That's totally racist.
They did, yes. Remember, Joe Biden was, he responded to Elmo in this viral moment where Elmo said, just checking in, how's everybody doing? And people were like, we're struggling, Elmo, with existential dread. And Joe Biden actually responded to Elmo on social media. But it's actually PBS, specifically the PBS affiliate in Las Vegas, who has filed filed a discrimination complaint against the station, saying she's risking her job because she wants to bring attention to a culture of retaliation and racism. Director of Marketing Terry Chi filed a complaint with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission and the Nevada Equal Rights Commission alleging systemic racism, retaliation against a whistleblower, and workplace mobbing or collective abuse from managers to force people out of work. Just when you thought a liberal institution was safe from allegations of racism, and let me tell you, friend, there is no more liberal institution on earth than a PBS station. You are wrong, because even PBS can be affiliated. No word on whether Ms. Chi was forced out of PBS because of her body odor. Not too bad, John. You did a great job. In fact, what did you go? 2 for 4, 1 for 4, 1 for 4. All right, 1 out of 4 ain't bad. That ain't bad, John. But it does show that the learning never stops. You did, I hope, get a better understanding of how you fit in America's systemic racism. But I hope you go forth, dear contestant, and do better. Because we always can.
We'll never say to my wife, hygiene, when getting on a plane.
Very good, my friend. Hey, thank you so much for playing, John. And thank you all for listening. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been America's favorite game show. Guess What's Racist?
This is Michael Lynch from Lynch Truck Center. For the first time ever, Lynch Truck Center is having a massive construction sale on over 400 in-stock trucks, which include Chevrolet, GMC, Hino, and Isuzu. You will not want to miss it. We're adding parking, 7 more truck bays, and expanded parts storage so we can better serve you, our customer. Did you know our experienced sales staff sold more Chevrolet medium-duty trucks and cabovers than all the other dealers in the state combined? With their knowledge on upfits, combined with our service department, we deliver turnkey vehicles for your business, including the right body for your application, bin packages, and even lettered when it's delivered right to your door. As a business owner, has managing your fleet grown into a full-time job? Our fleet department can help. We provide a free fleet analysis which guides you when to trade, help track expenses for maintenance, fuel, and even vehicle tracking. You'll be shocked on the money and time you can save, not to mention having new vehicles under warranty. Visit lynchtruckcenter.com and give us a shot. We won't disappoint you.
For more information about contests on News Talk 1130 WISN, go to newstalk1130.com/rules.
Dan O'Donnell here for the incredible team at Mander Collision and Glass, now with 6 locations to serve you. And you hear me talk about my great experiences with Mander all the time. Here's David. I had a chip in my windshield of my 2009 Chevy Malibu repaired today. Scheduling was a breeze. Staff was great. I was in and out in under half an hour. That's the Mander difference for you. Quick, professional work with customer service that's second to none. They treat you as a valued member of the family and not just a number like some of the big national chains. It's service that you can only get with a third-generation family business, and that's why I've been using Mander Collision and Glass for so many years, and so many listeners are now discovering and have discovered the Mander difference too. You can check them out at any one of their great locations: Cedarburg, Brookfield, Heartland, Milwaukee, Muskego, or Waukesha, and start your repair today at mandercollision.com.
Accunet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
This is Brian Wickert, owner of Wisconsin's own Accunet Mortgage, with a tip for today's home shoppers. You already know inventory is low and both competition and home prices are high. That's probably why you should not go with your bank or your real estate agent's mortgage pal for your pre-approval. You see, the banks have lots of branches, fancy headquarters, vice presidents and assistant vice presidents, and the loan officers who get referrals from real estate agents, they're typically very highly paid. Who do you think pays for all that extra expense? Turns out it's you. High overhead and high compensation naturally translate into higher closing costs. At Accunet, our extreme efficiency and low overhead mean your closing costs are typically $1,000 to $3,000 lower than banks and other lenders for exactly the same rate. Don't light your hard-earned money on fire. Get started with your rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval today by clicking on the blue button and put the money you'll save in closing costs towards something for your new home. That's accunet.com.
golf, an intoxicating blend of serenity, intensity, and frustration. If you want to enhance your enjoyment of golf, both as a player and a fan, listen to The Swing Doctor every Sunday afternoon at 2. The PGA professionals from Morningstar Golfers Club, Jim Frucci Jr., Jim Frucci III, and Michael Crowley offer insights and opinions on the game that so many of us find so riveting. The Swing Doctor, Sundays at 2 on WISN.
Mike, I wish we could open a showroom.
Your wish is my command, Gina.
You're like a home remodeling genie. What else do I want? Don't be selfish, Gina. Let's grant a wish for a wish kit.
Done. Join us June 1st, 11 a.m. till 2 p.m. for the grand opening of our new showroom. 12520 West Hampton Avenue, Butler.
Stop in for some food and drinks or just to say hi.
Donations welcome for Make-A-Wish, Wisconsin.
Your remodeling reality will be better than you can imagine with Reality Construction. RealityConstructionLLC.com.
Whether it was from a burn, heat, water, or a candle wax spill, if you have a great piece of wood furniture that has a damaged top, don't worry, because if we have to, we can refinish tops only. Other places may say you need to refinish the whole piece, but we can do better than that. So don't let your great piece go to waste. If it's just the top you need refinished, or for jobs of any size, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY finishing.com. He was told it would cost him $1,000 to refinish his chair. But when it was done, he'd be able to sell it for at least twice that. Only to find out that he paid more to refinish the chair than it was actually worth. You gotta watch out for dishonest people out there. But not over here. With over 50 years of experience, we'll give you a good idea of the value of your piece and whether it's worth refinishing. So for honest answers, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. We're no job's too small. Serving everywhere. Quality counts.
Hi, this is Nick from Metro Milwaukee Homebuyer. And if you want to sell your house fast for cash, contact us today. We are a local family business, A+ with the BBB, and we always treat you right. Visit MetroMilwaukeeHomebuyer.com to get your fair as-is cash offer today.
Between the lines,
far beyond legal and ethical limits,
and under the surface,
too dangerous or disruptive to the existing status quo.
Hosts Ben Bolin, Matt Frederick, and Noel Brown introduce you to the world of stuff they don't want you to know.
We've officially entered the age of biohacking.
History is riddled with unexplained events.
Is somebody messing with us?
Now it's time for some answers.
Take us to the edge of the rabbit hole. We'll do the rest.
Listen to Stuff They Don't Want You to Know on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart app and search Stuff They Don't Want You to Know and start listening.
Classical conservatism. Contemporary style. This is the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Classical conservatism, contemporary style. It is the Dan O'Donnell Show. Welcome back to it. Still have not heard back from the Burlington Area School District following an exclusive story that we reported yesterday on a shocking case in which a fourth grade student, a 10-year-old boy, pulled a knife on one of his, I would assume now former friends, and basically threatened to kill him, or at least said, I was going to kill you, if the little boy, who's 9 years old, was friends with another boy who had been apparently bullying them both. The boy's mother, this happened last Thursday in line for parent pickup, you know, where all the kids are waiting and the line of cars and that sort of stuff. The knife was a small red pocket knife, a Swiss Army knife style knife. So it wasn't a giant butcher knife or anything like that, but it is still a weapon. Now, the boy who pulled it was after the mother went to the principal and said, hey, what's going on here? The boy was suspended for a week. Burlington police were called. They declined to investigate any further. They said, given the ages of the boys involved, we really can't refer criminal charges. We don't think juvenile charges are appropriate here. The mother said, okay, well, I want to speak with the superintendent. And after days and days and days of the superintendent, Dr. Jill Olslager, refusing to meet with her. In fact, the woman actually went down to the district office, the mother of this little boy, and the superintendent just never showed up. And if this is not just complete education bureaucracy. Do you know what this mother was told by one of the staffers? Oh, Dr. Olslager is rarely here. You probably won't catch her in her office. What's she doing? Where is she? Macy's? Like, what? Wait, is she taking a brunch? Is she having a mimosa brunch? What do you mean you can't meet with her? She's not in the office. Yeah, producer Dave says she's at a conference somewhere across the country. Oh, that scam. That sweet, sweet scam. You realize in 2020, we discovered that most of these conferences, in fact, almost all of them, you can do via teleconference. You don't need to expend the money. But of course, as soon as we could, we went back to the conferences. Why? Because it's a vacation for educators, and everybody knows it. Superintendent never meets with the mother, and the principal is apparently none too pleased that the mother posted her story on Facebook, and I was made aware of it. To me, this is, and I guess I understand, and the handbook for the Burlington area school district, kindergarten through 5th grade students, prohibits students from possessing, storing, making, or using a weapon in any setting that is under the control and supervision of the district, and requires the superintendent to, quote, refer any student who violates this policy to the student's parents, and may also make a referral to law enforcement. The student may also be subject to disciplinary action up to and including expulsion. So they followed the handbook, right? They did everything. The superintendent, or at least the principal, contacted the parent. They imposed discipline. And I'm sure the school, this, by the way, is Dyer Elementary School in Burlington. The principal says, okay, well, we suspended the student for a week. And for a 4th grader at the end of the school year, that's a pretty big thing. The mother, though, says, well, wait a second. If a high school kid pulled a knife on another kid and threatened to kill him, the student would be expelled, and I don't think there would be any questions asked. This would be my question, too. Does the age of the student sort of indemnify him against the consequences of threatening to kill someone with a deadly weapon? I think it was relatively clear that the intention was, now, could one 10-year-old realistically kill another with a little knife? Probably not, in full view of teachers and parents in a parent pickup line. But he certainly could do some serious damage. And I thought most schools had zero tolerance policies for weapons on school grounds. It seems to me that this student is being treated differently because he's so young, because he's only 10 years old, because he's a 4th grader. But is that appropriate? I guess I can see where the school says a week-long suspension is an appropriate punishment. And this isn't nothing. It's not as though the Burlington area school district just swept it under the rug or covered it up or anything like that. They didn't. They took swift action. But the parent is saying, well, wait a second, I believe there should be an expulsion hearing. My son is, I think, justifiably terrified that something is going to happen once this kid goes back to school, and that's going to happen next Monday for what I would assume is the last week of school at Dyer Elementary. I don't know. Producer Dave, where do you come down on this? Appropriate punishment, or should there at least have been an expulsion hearing? Yeah. Producer Dave says the lines of communication should have been more open with the superintendent. Now, to me, superintendent should have gotten back to me. I'm saying, look, why do you feel that this is an appropriate punishment? You know, like, don't just duck. Don't just say, oh, well, we're going to sweep this under the rug, because this is a classic tactic at the end of the school year. They're just running out the clock. They assume, okay, we suspended the kid. It's fine. We don't have to answer to Dano O'Donnell. They probably don't like me going all the way back to the school board meeting nonsense. Do you remember that in 2020 and 2021 in the Burlington schools, where we reported extensively on all the craziness that was going on down there? So I get it. We're going to have to end a little bit early. We've got another commercial break to get to before we head to Clay and Buck. Coming up next, have no fear, Dan O'Donnell Show back with a Friday edition. A lot of fun tomorrow. Stay tuned for it.